IPMNation.com.
Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet. Matt from IPMNation.com here at Front Porch Productions in Tilton, New Hampshire. John Littlefield at the helm, making sure everything sounds good. And I'm sitting here with a gentleman who I've wanted to meet since we did the first Local Outbreak here at Front Porch, and that is Buck Sherwood. How are you, Buck?
Hello.
Welcome to the show. And the first show that we did here at Front Porch Productions, we featured your music. I interviewed John Littlefield, and we kind of talked about the studio and what he's done here, and wanted to have him show off some of the things he's recorded. And so we played a bunch of Buck Sherwood songs because it's good stuff. It sounds great. And so since that, I've wanted to meet you, get you in here so we could talk, and because I really like what you do. We're going to play a bunch of stuff and get to know you, and I guess we're playing some things that we didn't play before. Want to interview John, so that'll be good. What do you want to start the show off with?
What do you say we start with a song called A Nor'east Springtime? A
Nor'east Springtime. All right, very good. So this is A Nor'east Springtime here on Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet.
The geese are flying north to break of daylight. Meadows all but giving up her snow. They's honking up a storm and flapping happy. I'd really like to join in, truth be told. John and Deb have got the sap house steaming. Stop in for a coffee or tea. If ever heaven reached for a field made it, syrup's wicked sweet as it can be, and the billows catch a breeze and spiral skyward, and the youngins ain't so young now anymore. Here with gratitude the simple pleasures taken. Don't forget before you leave to sign the door. The big thaw makes me think of Marty Angstrom, retired, so I'm told, to Freiburg, Maine. Our weatherman from high atop the mountain, legend of the Nor'east folk and fame. As the ravens ride the thermals on the hilltops, and the agents out there posting muddied roads, while the loggers take a well-deserved hiatus. Yes, indeed, another winter's come to close. Hey, the profile may be gone, but not in spirit. That's how I feel in near as I can see. Even men of wise and lore and hewed from granite, two must pass beyond to set them free. So we chose a star-read springtime for his going, and though we needn't proof that night, the old man smiled. For to have a life complete and truly blessed, just to be at one with all creation's wilds. snow. They's honking up a storm and flapping happy. I really love to join in, truth be told.
Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet. Matt from IPMNation.com, from IPMNation.com, rather, here at Front Porch Productions, John Littlefield studio here in Tilton, New Hampshire. And sitting here with Buck Sherwood. And Buck, as we talked about before, we actually featured your music on the first Local Outbreak that we did here at Front Porch. So it's good to finally have you on the show, getting to chat a little bit. And can you tell me, we had a pretty interesting conversation off air, actually, about where you get your inspiration from in terms of your songs. You know, you like to have a theme and whatnot. Can you tell us a little bit more about your process in terms of writing?
Sure, I'd love to. The first CD that we just put out, John and I got together and did this Hearthside Hibernation.
Yes.
And the idea of this was, being in the Northeast here, if we ever were fortunate enough to get a heavy snowfall and a cold snap, that you could perhaps just stay home for 3-4 days and let the world go by. And when this happens, you have a tendency to, get a little more intimate with some thoughts that you just never had the opportunity to spend time with because your day's schedule is just so jam-packed.
Sure.
So some of the lyrics came from that. I also had worked in these mountains in this area, the White Mountains, for a better part of a decade and a half. And there's an enormity of stories out there in these mountains. Mm-hmm. So we're starting to look at that. There's some great reels and tales and things to come from these mountains. And I'd like to start working that into the lyrics. Mm-hmm. That's probably our second CD that we go after.
Okay. So are you thinking about then doing, for the next CD, it's going to be all very theme oriented? Is it going to focus on those stories of the White Mountains, or?
We're leaning toward that pretty heavy. There's, I've got some lullabies and some ballads, and mm-hmm. and I do appreciate, don't get me wrong, like I said, John Littlefield and I used to be in a band that could set a barn afire in 5 minutes. Can I say who the band was?
Oh, absolutely.
The Sackett Brothers Band. We kicked some butt and had a ball doing it.
Yeah.
But now I'm doing this acoustic stuff, and it's kind of laid back, and there's a lot of nice music to be had in some of that acoustic and nuanced kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. That the electrified stuff, as much as I love it, it just can't capture some of this stuff. So that's where I'm kind of focusing right now.
Sure. Now, how long have you been working in that vein, where you're a solo artist and you're doing acoustic music?
Well, I unplugged for the most part back, I don't know, 6-7 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And I had never really looked at an acoustic guitar before, Mm-hmm. It just didn't appeal to me. But there's tones and things that come out of it that you just can't capture when you plug in. So I'm really trying to exploit that at this point. And it lends itself to different types of songs. And I got to tell you that James Taylor is one of my heroes. Mm-hmm. He's got his own thing going, too. The minute that guy sings or plays, you know it's him.
Oh, absolutely.
Right away.
Absolutely.
So I really appreciate that kind of stuff.
Did you, when you were playing in a band, did you ever imagine that at some point you would sort of diverge into doing something like what you're doing now, or was that not really in your mind?
Absolutely not. It's a great question. Never did I see it happening.
Really?
It just sort of did. Mm-hmm. Kind of crept up and it happened, and I'm pretty happy it did,
Yeah.
Life has a way of throwing things at you, and you roll with it. There's no sense fighting it, because you're just one person, and the cosmos goes on and on and on. You're not about to take that thing on. So
right.
You gotta go with it and learn to be happy. And, you'd be surprised at a lot of things that you might initially fight, that you, after the fact, see, wow, there's a whole lot more there than what I first, anticipated, et cetera. So
yeah,
I'm pretty happy with it.
And in terms of the songwriting, was it easy to make that transition? In other words, when you sat down with your acoustic guitar and you started writing, did that just kind of happen organically, or did you have to think about, okay, if I'm going to go in this direction, I got to write some songs. How do I do this?
Initially, when I got the acoustic guitar, all I did was write instrumentals, not
Really?
a single word, none. And it's actually fairly difficult to write instrumentals because when you write songs, you get, verse, chorus, bridges, and maybe some, what they refer to as a Baroque piece where it only plays itself through one time. It doesn't repeat. So I started fading over toward writing lyrics, just kind of toying with things. And now that's, I see that perhaps for every 10 songs that I write with lyrics, I might pop out one instrumental.
Sure.
So that's kind of phased off too. But, it's a challenge because, folk music, especially, what you want to do is you want to tell a story, and if you really look back in the early folk music, these people were very intelligent. They wanted to get the people involved in sometimes not truly political. I don't want to use that word, but in the fact that all people joined together can actually do something. And if everybody kind of shares in on the chores, it's really not a big deal.
Right.
But collectively, we can do something much bigger. And, I can reel off Pete Seeger, all those kind of folks.
Sure.
But they did fantastic things. And it kind of faded. It's still there in my eyes. And all you got to do is crack it open and see just how much is there, really.
Sure.
But yeah, I'd like to maybe tell some stories and bring back to life some of the things that some folks maybe never heard of, or if they did, they sort of faded and got replaced. And you just polish them up and bring them out again, and it kind of revives some stuff, and of course, put a fresh edge on it as well. So. Yeah.
And in terms of the lyrical content, does that come to you at the same time that you're coming up with melodies or writing, or?
That's a great question. That's funny. Sometimes it comes at the same time, as you're playing with chords and the words just drop in. Other times I've got just the music. I've got a whole song written without a single word.
Yeah.
And other times you just kind of fooling with the words that rhyme.
Sure, sure.
And you got a couple of lines that are, sometimes you don't know where they came from, and other times you just hear somebody say something and you say, bingo, there's a pretty good line. I could write an entire song off that one line that person just shot off the top of their head.
Yeah, yeah.
So it kind of, you get your antennae up now. You start looking around for stuff and you start realizing, boy, there's a whole lot here that I overlooked. How did I not see it before? And when people start talking to you, you pick up on things now that you might not have heard before. And they're just casting off some ideas off the top of their head, and there's you can unpackage those ideas and go a long way with them. So
I get the impression that as you get further into doing music this way, where as a solo artist with and playing acoustic guitar, that my perception is that as you've gone along, you're kind of becoming almost like the antenna's up, and you're kind of just becoming more and more open to what's going on around you and history and all that, and then being able to use that.
Absolutely. The idea is that it's always been there. It's just whether or not you're aware. And my awareness is starting to peak, and it can be contagious. Somebody can hear a song and it could trigger something in their mind, and that can trigger something in somebody else's mind. And everybody has groups of people that they all converse with, and it can really, dare I use the word zeitgeist, which is where everybody suddenly has like this moment where they all become aware of something that was always present, but they just didn't really see it or appreciate it or what.
Sure.
And that can go in many great directions. So if I can just do some little part to have some little spark here, and that's all I can do, a little spark, but that can go a long way.
Sure, absolutely.
That's the beauty of folk music.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see the Americana stuff to folk music. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that once in a while I don't want to strap on a Les Paul and get that full tilt screech thing going, but, the folk stuff is really, really hitting me hard. So
yeah, good. Yeah. No, I think you're going in the right direction, definitely. Yeah. Well, why don't we play another track? What do you want to play?
Why don't we try one of those little instrumentals we threw together? John and I threw this together. It's John, what's this one called?
This one is Breezy Point.
Breezy Point. I just came up with this name because this is up on Mount Mooselock's Carriage Road, Breezy Point.
Okay. And I want to remind everybody, too, that all these songs were recorded here at Front Porch Productions. So this is Breezy Point from Buck Sherwood here on Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet.
100.1 The Planet's local outbreak with IPMNation.com.
Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet. Matt from IPMNation.com here at The Planet, or actually here at Front Porch Productions in Tilton, New Hampshire. And sitting across from me is Buck Sherwood. And Buck, I want to get a little bit of your musical history. We talked with John when we did the first LO here at Front Porch about you guys played in a band together. That's how you met. And you are an integral part of what got Front Porch Productions going, because John started recording you here. But tell me a little bit about the Sackett Brothers, the band you guys played in, and you want to learn your musical history a little bit.
Sure. The Sacketts got together. It was about the late 80s. We were all kind of mingling in different bands, and everybody gets to know who's in the other bands, and you go out to see each other play. And somehow we all fell together. It was John on the kit, and we had Kevin Conway on the bass, and Norman Brad Sackett, and myself. And we just clicked heavy on Leonard Skinner and Allman Brothers, that kind of stuff, Outlaws and Marsha Tucker. We did all that Southern Rebel kind of stuff, and the folks ate it up, and so did we. It makes no bones about that. We really loved playing it. So
and that's a big commitment to because that's not your typical 3-chord rock.
No. As a matter of fact, some of that Allman Brothers stuff, they started venturing into some jazzy, arrangements and all. And you had to knuckle down and learn your riffs. And there was a lot of harmony riffs, and there's a lot of shifting of tempos and all that. So we knuckled it down, and everybody leaned into their instrument, and we really got it together well. And
how long did that take from the time you guys started to when you got to a point where you felt like you were ready as a unit to start playing these out live?
Well, we met in, like I said, the late 80s, and we were playing pit parties. This is, you go to a sand pit, and somebody would light a few logs on fire, and we'd get a generator or two and, raise some cane.
Yeah.
Where we weren't bothering anybody. And we started playing a couple of motorcycle clubs. They all asked us in. We played 5 biker clubs in one summer. And within a couple of years, the material started to really tighten up. And through the decade of the 90s, we started hitting all the clubs in the area of Vermont, New Hampshire, and, various areas. I say that because a lot of them sometimes are down a dirt road 3 miles, where you needed a 4-wheel drive to get in and go over the old skidder bridges. Yeah. But I tell you, man, we had a ball with that, and the crowd ate it right up. And when we're playing a lot of those clubs, I don't know if it's okay for me to say that, but these folks would run out of alcohol because the place would be packed full, and everybody was just whipping it up and having a ball. So, that was a banner decade for the music for us.
John said that the guitar that you played, no one else could play it quite like the way you could play it. What?
Because it was such a piece of junk.
Well, okay, it was not a Gibson guitar, but it was the Les Paul model. But it was one of the copies that was made by a very good company that I won't say right now. I don't. But it required a little bit of work, and it kind of had the feel, once you really got playing it, like a fiddle.
Really?
Yeah, fiddles require a certain approach, and, you just have to adjust to it. And, there's guest musicians would jump up and not sit down so they could play, and they'd be, one verse into the song, like, what is this?
Right.
So I kind of adjusted my playing to the idiosyncrasies of this guitar. And, in the latter stages, it took about 20 minutes to 30 minutes before every single show for me just to work it and tighten the neck up and set the intonation and play with it a little bit. Yeah. But, my money should have been going back into the band, but I was building a house at the time, and, you have other things going on. But, I made it work.
Yeah, that's good. Now, after the band ended, did you immediately then go into exploring doing acoustic solo stuff, or was there a break? Or
no, there's the band came to an end because Norman passed beyond, and I actually took that guitar and I bolted it to a 4x4 post at the site where Norman passed on into the other worlds, wherever that is. And I just backed off the music thing for a while. Sure. And it took me a few years that was the only guitar I owned, so it took me some years later to scrape up enough money to get another guitar. And I bought a nice acoustic guitar from a friend of mine, Dave Colburn, down at the fret shop in Ashland. And, you start noodling around and playing primarily instrumentals. And then over time, the instrumentals started capturing words, and I started toying with words. And next thing you know, here we are. John shows up late last fall, and he says, "Hey, why don't you come on at my place and we'll record some of those things you got going?" And lo and behold, we got a CD out now.
Yeah.
And we're both learning as we go, but it's starting to pick up some momentum, and I'm starting to feel a little more comfortable when he says, "Okay, go." You freak out the first 6 takes, and you're like, "John, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know why I get so nervous when you say we're live," but we're getting beyond that now. So.
Does it surprise you when John first approached you about coming up to do some recording? Did you expect that? You'd end up. I mean, how many songs have you recorded here now? It's
well, the first CD we got has 13 original songs,
so quite a few,
and I got probably another 10 or 12 here that are ready to go.
Wow, yeah. So that's a lot of material.
It is, and I'm looking back at it saying, well, where did it all come from? Because it was just last fall that John showed up and says, "Hey, come on up to the place. We'll see what we can do."
Yeah,
and it's kind of one of those things. Once you get going, it's kind of doubling up on you. And now I'm popping out songs there.
Yeah.
You're messing around with like any guitar player knows that the G major and the E minor has something playing between it, and bingo, you get a song out of it pretty quick.
Sure. Oh. When you record, do you sing and play at the same time?
What we're trying to do right now is you record the guitar track, and then you sing over that.
Okay.
That's just how it's done for balance reasons and all. But I do prefer to record live, but we're playing with however it sounds best.
Sure, absolutely.
He's the technician. I don't know the first thing about it. I'm lucky I can tune my own guitar, to be honest.
So the new stuff that you're recording, that's for the second CD, correct?
Yes.
And how many songs will that have, or do you know yet when it's done?
I think it's probably going to have at least 10, if not a dozen. Mm-hmm. But then again, you got to be careful. They try to, they like to see songs under 4 minutes. And for some reason, my songs all seem to be about 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. And so we try to nip them down and shorten them up a little bit without losing, what it is the song is about.
Sure.
But, it's all a learning experience, and I hope to get better at it as time goes by. But John's a great guy. This never would have happened without John. So
yeah, that's awesome.
He's like a brother. So
very good, very good. Well, why don't we play another song? What do you want to play?
How about we do this one called Aurora?
Aurora, okay. And this is from the new disc?
This is from the Hearthside Hibernation.
This is from the first one, okay. Yeah. Do you have a title, by the way, for the new one?
The second CD?
Yeah.
No, we don't.
Okay.
It's still that fresh.
Yeah. No, that's good. All right, so this is Aurora from Buck Sherwood here on Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet.
Found a story and walked it a while by meadow to your home, strolls poem, surprise a closed-eyed smile. If I found an ocean and placed it on wheels, your doorstep while you slept, made it all sing real beyond the aurora, higher than I can say. I adore you by starlight and bright of day. I found more seasons between those renowned, their names on your expressions, concessions, though speaking not a sound. If I found an old song and mended its wings that flew in your sweet dreams on moonbeams, long enough to sing beyond the aurora, higher than I can see. You know I adore you by starlight and bright of day. I found a moment held up to the sun that shone our forevers and evers. Always we're all one beyond the aurora, higher than I can see.
100.1 The Planet's local outbreak with IBMNation.com.
Starlight and bright of day, beyond the aurora, higher than I can see. You know I adore you by starlight and bright of day.
Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet. Matt from IPMNation.com here at Front Porch Productions in Tilton. And sitting here with Buck Sherwood, and this has been a great conversation tonight. I've been telling John since we started doing the show here how much I wanted to meet you, and I really like the material a lot. And you have a show coming up, correct? Is that in November?
Yeah, November 24. Every year they have what's called a Bad Jam. That's the Bruce Allen Downing Jam, a dedication to Diane Downing's older brother. This is of Alex Ray and the Common Man stuff. This would be at the Flying Monkey, and it's a fun show because they bring in all the local musicians to play, and everybody gets, I don't know, maybe half hour, and it's just a great night. And they got dinner, and it's a ticket price dinner to the show. And if you've never been to the Monkey, I'm not putting a plug in for it, but it's a great place.
Yep.
So we'll be playing that November 24. They give me a slot there. I know those folks, and they're great people. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, very good. Do you have anything else coming up this fall? Or
well, just trying to get some local small gigs. There's a couple of restaurants that I'd like to get into because I'm told they got great food, and if they feed you and give you $50, I'm pretty thrilled with that. You know?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I think they appreciate, that sort of more laid back, that Paul Simon, James Taylor stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of stuff where I'm really moving from. I'm writing my own stuff, but that's what I really like. I mean, I wish I could play like that guy, Pat Martino, that great jazz player. But if I can just say, anybody that's a musician, I would suggest you watch the documentary called Martino Unstrung. It helps show you what goes on in a musician's brain. That's all I'll say. Okay, you can take it from there.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a great flick.
Really?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of it. When did that come out? Is that recent, or is that?
Believe it or not, it's a few years ago. I think it was 2008.
Oh.
But it's about a great jazz player, guitar player, Pat Martino, that actually had brain surgery. And I don't want to give it away, but it's a fantastic documentary.
I'm intrigued.
Martino Unstrung, it's called.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. And we'll finish up with one more track in a moment, but I want to remind everybody, if you like what you heard tonight, if you want to be able to download the show anytime or stream it, go to ipmnation.com/local outbreak. The shows are archived there. And once they go up on the site, they stay there forever. So you can have access to them anytime you want to. And we want to remind everybody, too, also, if you like what you heard tonight, check out, if you need recording, John Littlefield, Front Porch Productions. Actually, if you go to the Local Outbreak page on ipmnation.com, there is a link to the Facebook page for Front Porch Productions. So that's a quick, easy way to get in touch with John. He does a phenomenal job. So I can't recommend him enough. And I'm very honored that he engineers the show for us here every week. So, and let's see. Buck, what do you want to end the show with?
Well, let me just say hi to my kids, can I?
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, I love you, Jess, Ben, and Selena. And we'll end with this this song. This is a backcountry ballad, sort of a love song. It's called Coyotes.
All right. And I say it wrong probably because I just say coyotes. But that's
same
probably,
thing. Same thing.
Is it? All right.
Yeah.
I don't know. When I hear you say it that way, I think I'm probably saying it the lazy Americanized way or something.
Well, no. Oh, like when I did that song about Montpelier, Vermont, I gave it the French Montpellier.
See, I can't even Montpellier. I can't even do it.
Practice, you'll get it.
All right. So this is Coyotes?
Yes,
is that
sir.
close? All right. From Buck Sherwood here on Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet. Thanks, Buck.
Thank you.
Coyotes, they were calling, woke me late last night. Stars, they were falling by the glow of campfire light. Well, you were like a child, sleeping all the while. Or could we be in each other's dreams? Rain came early morning, the tin roof soaking sound. Before long it was pouring for the time we'll be bound. Lean to feel of home, the two of us alone in the forest green, in each other's dreams. Noon, the skies were clearing, rise the river wheel, the crossing there is nearing, birthday suits and get off Phil. 'Cause where we are today will soon be far away. So let it be. In each other's. Coyotes, they were calling. Woke you late last night. Stars, they were falling by the glow of campfire light. But I was like a child, sleeping all the while. Oh, could we be in each other's dreams? In each other's.
100.1 The Planet's local outbreak with IPMNation.com.
The Planet's local outbreak is recorded weekly at Front Porch Productions in Tilton, New Hampshire, and is engineered by John Littlefield. Matt Connerton of IPM Nation is the host of The Planet's local outbreak. The show is produced and edited by Annie Biello of 100.1 The Planet. For artist links and details about The Planet's local outbreak, hit up The Planet's Entertain Me page, WPNHFM.com. The Planet's local outbreak is available for download anytime online, IPMNation.com/local outbreak. The Planet's local outbreak is a product of 100.1 The Planet and Northeast Communications.